This episode of the Major Issues Podcast is brought to you by ComicBook Clique at tpublic.com. Take a selfie rocking one of our shirts from TeePublic and use the hashtag CBCWorthy for a chance to win 2 free tickets to see Captain Marvel in theaters March 8th. Just click the Shop Comic Book Clique link in our show notes to make a purchase, or follow us on Facebook for more information. Remember, you are worthy. Hello everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're listening to this, you could only be here for one reason, and it's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you by Comic Book Clique. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, please introduce yourself.
I am Dick Grayson's multiple bedfellows, Gregory Thomas, aka GT Rebirth.
GT Rebirth is here in studio, but he is not alone. Other sir, please introduce yourself.
We're having a threesome tonight. It's Yogi here.
Yogi is here in studio. I got GT Rebirth, I got Yogi, and we're all here to talk about Dick. So that's why it had to be a very special episode here of the Major Issues Podcast. We're here to talk about the first iteration of a live-action version of one of the most famous teams in DC's lore. We're talking DC's Titans, an 11-episode series brought to you by DC's Universe app. The first show on that app, by the way. So you know that they wanted to start off strong. I guess to keep it, a little bit spoiler free, what do you guys off the jump think about this series? And I guess in relation to the myriad of Teen Titans and Titans media that's out there between comics and the animated stuff.
I thought it was fine. This was really the only exposure I had to Teen Titans or Titans in any sense outside of like the Titans Rebirth one.
Okay.
So I was going into it fresh anyway, and I had no personal connection to the characters that I was tied to, that I was worried about being broken.
Right. I mean that can be a problem. Yogi, I know you're well more steeped in Titans lore than probably the both of us. So how did you feel about this iteration of the Titans? And I also know that you're also very quite forgiving about portrayals because of your understanding of multiverse theory, where there are multiple versions of these characters. And so if you don't get the one that you probably thought you were going to get, this is just an iteration off the beaten path.
That makes it a lot easier to accept some of the more different iterations of our favorite characters that we've been getting lately. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm going to forgive everything, you know. And when the leaked set images came out of Titans and we got to see the cast in costume for the first time, I was with everyone else when I was like, ew. It wasn't just, I was like, they all looked like, bad cosplayers or whatever. But
right.
I was pleasantly surprised. Like, first of all, it took us so long to actually get this show. I don't know if you guys remember, but like years ago when they announced this, it was supposed to be on like TNT. And this got like dropped.
TNT. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. So DC Universe
finally, that they was right in the bag for this kind of stuff. You think with all the stuff that they do with CW, these guys would have been right on the chopping block. Why do you think it took so long to adapt the Titans?
I feel like their original goal was to get it on TNT, which would have been like really drama centric, and I'm not sure if maybe there was like creative differences or whatever happened, but I'm sure that they've got much more freedom on their own streaming service than they would have under the Turner umbrella.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a big thing for me. I'm like really interested in some of these shows that they have on the app coming up, which is just like, okay, this is our system, this is under our umbrella. We kind of get to do whatever the heck we want now. There's no one to tell us no.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword though, because you're free to do whatever you want on your app. At the same time, you're beholden to like subscriber numbers, which I don't know if you guys have heard, but like apparently the DC Universe app isn't doing as well as they thought it would. So
this. Yeah, I did hear that.
That kind of scares me because what happens when what happens if it doesn't reach that goal marker, and all these shows that we're excited for, where do they go? What happens?
I don't know. They're gonna have to like fold into some sort of Warner Brothers app, right? Like they would have to come out with some sort of Warner Brothers Entertainment app or something. But
you figure Warner Brothers has one of these up their sleeves with Disney Play coming down the pike.
Yeah, but like you said, we saw what happened with the Marvel Netflix. So you could imagine if, God forbid, this had to tank or they had to close their doors on this app. Who knows where this iteration of Titans goes? It could literally float forever. It could never be revived. And so we are at a crossroads here. Especially with the first season of the first original show on this original network. And I personally I liked a lot about it, but I felt as if it was half of a series. I feel like there's another part that they maybe wanted to give us initially when they first, started to storyboard this and start to flesh out where these characters were going to be. I get this feeling, and I don't know if it's just me, that the way things ended in the series is not where they intended to end things. And I'm not saying that the way they ended it was bad, but you can almost tell that it wasn't intended almost, or it wasn't that they wanted to give more time to other aspects and other characters, which I feel like we can get into length on in a bit. But
I was actually prepared for a slower pace when it came to Titans because like we were just saying, being on their own streaming service, they greenlighted a second season before the first one even aired. So they were ready to tell their story as fast or as slow as they wanted. But when it comes to that season finale, or I guess I'll put that in quotes because it didn't really feel like any finale I've ever seen. It kind of, like you said, it kind of felt abrupt. Like if there was maybe more that we were supposed to get and it got cut off the end, or however they got to the conclusion that we were only going to get 11 episodes instead of the original 12.
Right.
Well, also at the end of the day, like if you're already familiar with the CW series and the speeds that it runs at, like this still has Greg Berlanti's signature on it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be
Absolutely.
some familiarity to it.
Yeah, but it also makes you wonder where then does the tangent come, right? It makes you wonder, like, if you've seen CW-esque shows, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people didn't take this on because they thought it was going to be another CW show, and they have their full, their fill, their full, all of that stuff. Like they literally,
you'd almost hope that the saving grace of the difference between the CW stuff and the DC Universe stuff is the same thing you got out of the Marvel Netflix, which was like it was much more condensed.
Yeah,
I'm not watching Arrow for 8 months of 20-something episodes.
20, yeah, man, that stuff gets hard, bro. That stuff gets hard, bro.
Compared to like I've got 3 months of Titans in it. It's run.
I literally want to get into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know people are probably screaming at me right now because I haven't, but it's like,
oh man, if you haven't gotten into it yet, you've got to ride.
The longer that I wait, the more another 23 episodes
you've got to ride
drops,
ahead of you.
Then I got to try to get through that. So something like this, 11 episodes, hour a piece, 40, 45 minutes to an hour a piece. I think this is the way to go with that. But this is not a lot of people's version of the Teen Titans. There's been a bunch of different versions of the Teen Titans popularized throughout the years. Probably the most popular one is the Marv Wolfman, George Perez iteration of the Teen Titans, which was Robin, Starfire, Beast Boy, Raven, and Cyborg. But prior to that, the original quote-unquote Teen Titans, the Fab Five or whatever, was Dick Grayson's Robin, Wally West's Kid Flash, Garth Aqualad. They never decided to give Garth a last name. I think that's so. But anyway, Donna Troy's Wonder Girl. So
Garth Ladd.
I like that. And then shortly after, then Titans ebbs and flows. The quality goes up and down. But a lot of people,
comic does.
Yeah, a lot of people praise Jeff Johns' run in 2003 for bringing a different level to the Teen Titans lore, and it took a lot from that Young Justice sort of. We're not. A lot of us are trying to break out into our own narrative here,
into our own identities.
Yeah, and that there's a lot of that in this. So, do you guys have a favorite iteration of Teen Titans? Or when you came into this, was there anyone that you kind of wanted to see? Like, oh, it would be awesome if blank, showed up?
I guess I try not to. Go ahead. Oh, you could go ahead. I'm sorry about that. This 3-man team is new to us. We're gonna be we're gonna be getting used to it.
You gentlemen are so polite.
In fairness, I think the only version of Teen Titans, by any definition, I can say I have a favorite or am familiar with is like Young Justice.
Okay.
Which I think by any scope, no matter what you call it, is the same thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, you got Connor there. I think Connor is a big player in that wasn't in the original.
Connor, it's got Wally. It's it's
the
got
thing.
Artemis,
The thing that makes the Young Justice show feel like Teen Titans though is because of how it literally was pulling little elements from Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run, but at the same time it mixed in that original Young Justice story, Peter David's Young Justice.
Yeah.
So it's I can understand why it feels it does. It's basically a Teen Titans show, right? But for
it may as well be
the little older crowd.
if you just put Teen Titans or Titans on the front signature, it wouldn't have made a difference.
They didn't even give the team a name.
Yeah, exactly. Do you guys think that in taking away the teen from the name, do you think it was warranted? Do you think that everything that was more adult in the show?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm saying, do you think it all played a role, or was it blood and cursing and sex for blood and cursing and sex sake?
No, I mean it's apparent. It's obvious that they. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the past few years, the Titans have become a brand of their own. You've got Batman, you've got Superman, you've got the Justice League, and now you've got the Teen Titans. So so far, all of mainstream media's Titans adaptations have been for kids. It's been the Teen Titans Go, the original Teen Titans, the new DC animated universe Teen Titans movies. So you almost, if you wanted to have something different, you almost had to do this in the way that they did.
Yeah. There was a lot of
I'd argue that those DC Teen Titans movies have been a bit higher up.
I just like whenever
the things
Starfire,
they do with Starfire and Dick Grayson are just
I just like all the Starfire and Dick Grayson jokes about do that thing you did last night in front of everyone. No, not that thing. The other thing.
I'd say you got Teen Titans Go for the kids, you got the DC Universe Teen Titans for the teens, and now you've got Titans for adults.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they've gone to great lengths in DC's mythology to show the importance of not only the Teen Titans, because they always make it a point to say they would just be young heroes without any guidance, without any mission, without any purpose out there, and who knows what would happen to them. But they make it a real strong point to highlight almost in every iteration the original the Fab Five, and they go through great lengths to show the connectivity, I guess you would say, of these people. No matter what Dick Grayson's going through, he's always gonna have a soft spot for Wally West, for Donna Troy, for I feel like I'm Mr. Speedy. We've seen that, and I think it's one of the most endearing things. They have a bond that some leaguers don't, some Justice League members don't, and with the beginning of Rebirth, a lot of that was, I remember a Titans of old,
right?
And how do I get their love and memories withstood the breaking of the multiverse. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Titans love and continuity there.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah. Poor Wally. Poor Speedy.
I think it's from Justice League vs. Teen Titans, but that was definitely a thing I got from it. That the Justice League is a conglomerate that operates because of necessity.
Okay.
And that the Teen Titans are a group that are together because they want to be.
Yeah, I can see that. And they have a united. They're united in many ways, and I mean Titans together, right? That's in the whole. They just have that weird friends thing where everyone kind of dates in the circle, and it's kind of awkward. Yeah, that does happen. But let's go into these core team of Titans, the Titans that we got on this show. Starting off with the main man, Richard Grayson, who plays Robin, Brandon Thwaites is the actor. Now, Robin's a long time comic book character, first appearing in Detective Comics number 38 in April of 1940. And he starts off as the whole, in comic books at least, starts off as the wide-eyed boy wonder sidekick for the notorious Dark Knight of Gotham City Batman. And after joining the Titans for some time, Dick relinquishes the Robin mantle in favor of starting over as his own man, calling himself Nightwing. He's a skilled acrobat, martial artist, and detective, and Brandon Thwaites is the first actor to play Robin in a live-action TV series 49 years after the end of Batman 66, where Burt Ward starred as the character. And I think that is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I always thought there was one in Birds of Prey. I don't know why.
I saw Joker.
Well, I'm trying to think, like, has there been a live-action Batman on TV since then?
No.
I remember it being a point that when you saw the bat signal in the crossover in the Arrowverse, that was the first time a bat signal has been shown since the 66 show.
There's also some
that's a pretty big deal.
There's also some story that they asked Gotham for their bat signal and they said no.
Well, you know what? That's great. That's great that they didn't. Because isn't the Gotham bat signal just a flashlight?
Oh my God,
with no bat on it?
They don't have a bat yet because the bat has not yet been established.
But is that a signal?
So what were they?
That's just a light.
It's a signal if you know what it's a signal.
Yeah. But then it almost makes the bat thing. It almost makes the bat thing seem over extravagant, right? Because now you've done it with just the light. You can still be Batman and just go back to the light.
Does Ra's al Ghul not make that exact same line in the first movie?
Yeah, that's true. You might as well just be the moth, right?
Yeah.
The moth to the light, and then you go. Theatricality and deception, my friend. That's all you need. Mothman.
I feel you took my advice about theatricality a bit literally.
I've been on this boat of we need Robin in live action for quite some time. I think that if you're just informed by the media's taking of Batman can handle it all on his own. But the reason why the character's endured for this long is because he has people checking him to the right and left. And some of them being, Robin, Batgirl, and eventually he has a son.
More Robins.
Yeah, more Robins.
Robins.
I know we're gonna get into this a little later, but I know. But I'm glad that they made it a point to show what would happen to Batman if he didn't have his Robin support system.
Yes, because there's another Robin who puts those two and two together later on in his lore, and we get to see Greg is not impressed. But so Robin is here. Yes. What did you guys think about Robin, the boy wonder? He is far from a boy, and I think the wonder has left his eyes. But what do you guys think?
I thought Brandon did a. I know. In the beginning, I was a little put off by like the over aggressive violence that we were getting from this Robin. But as the story goes on, you realize that that's a problem that he's dealing with. And I'm like, you know what? I think that he did a good job as Dick Grayson. I felt Dick. I don't want to say I felt Dick. I got the feeling of Dick. He was a great Dick,
and we haven't had Dick in a while. So when you haven't had Dick in a while, almost any Dick would do.
Yeah, but, oh man,
this is gonna be the longest episode I've ever done. I enjoyed it. I had a kick out of it at the beginning just because like everyone's kind of waiting to get their Robin, and I saw the first few scenes, and I was just like, yes, we're getting Agent Grayson. Let's get it.
Agent of Spiral.
But other than that, I thought he did a good job. I appreciated, or at least I guess I appreciated the nuance of the idea that a lot of people were sort of confused about the idea that he was still this violent character after he got away from Batman, and I was just like, that's not an easy process.
No, it's not, especially
these are things deeply ingrained into your motor skills, and like it's a recovery time. And
the thing, they say it all the time that Batman, preps these kids for war and stuff, but these things are not told to you. Like, your whole reality is skewed because what is viewed as essential for the human, condition is looked at as weakness. And so now you start taking parts of yourself out because they are a hindrance. What I felt was a little bit curious about this Dick Grayson was that he didn't immediately assume responsibility.
No.
Like not from like you would think that any Robin or especially the first Robin would like, all right, you guys obviously don't know what you're doing. I'm taking charge, and he eventually gets there. But it's cool to see him kind of be like, I don't really want to hang right now. Like I don't really know, yeah. He meets Raven and he drops them off at a friend's house.
Right.
He's like, by the way,
I'm
you
just
mind if this
dropping off
girl
teenagers.
stays here? I know we used to screw. Do you mind if this girl stays here for some time? I'll be back in like 3 months or something. How do you feel about Grayson running away from his responsibilities initially?
It made sense to me. Like he's already running from them essentially in some way.
Yeah.
Right. So he's still on the run from something, whether it's an outside force or inside himself that he wants to handle on his own, and he thinks it's safest that way.
I can see that.
I thought I don't know. They haven't like fully explained the catalyst for the breakup in this universe, but going by what I already knew about Dick, I don't even think I saw it as him running away from his responsibility because he was fired. I don't know if that's the way. Like they didn't go into it on the show, but
canonically he gets fired. He gets shot. He gets shot at, right? And then Batman gets scared, and he's like, "You're not going out there anymore. You're officially pulled from this."
He just
and he's like,
him.
"Yeah," because he gets shot like close to the head by the Joker on a roof. And then he's like, "Yeah, you're not doing." And he's like, "What do you mean I'm not?" And he gets in his face like, "Are you kidding me? Like we've been doing this, and all of a sudden now it's gonna be an issue, and yada yada yada." But I get that. I also get that confused because I've read Marv Wolfman's Teen Titans, and in that it's a way more calming revelation. He's like, I don't want to do this Robin thing anymore. I think I want to be Nightwing, and so I don't know where that revelation fits in with his Batman lore. I don't know if he gets kicked out and then he goes hangs out with his friends.
They made this Titans they made this Dick have a real chip on his shoulder. Like he's really angry at Bruce. I can see them going the he got fired route, because then when he gets replaced so suddenly, it's like ouch. Like what the hell, Bruce, you fired me. What why would you go out and replace me so easily? Which it ends up being that Bruce got lonely.
He got a rebound. He literally got a rebound. Like
I kept assuming that the series at one point was going to flash back to like a bad thing happened, and it got to me, and I left.
Right, or Batman crossed the line, and I saw that this was a line I don't want to cross. And then
essentially, like a bad thing happened, and I saw it, and I left. I was just like, this is going bad places.
Did you think early on in the series that we would get this sort of? I mean, although it was played off as a dream sequence or nightmare sequence, depending on how you think about it, did you think we would get the face-off of Batman and Robin?
Absolutely not. I didn't think we would see him at all on Titans.
I was already clued in because there was that thing that came out where they were just like, oh, the Batsuit got leaked.
Yeah.
And the moment I saw the Batsuit and the moment I saw how little detail work was put into it, I was just like, oh, you're never going to see it.
Yeah, I actually thought that they were going to play it a lot more subtly. I thought that the Batsuit was just going to be shrouded in darkness all the time. And that
essentially was.
Yeah, you're right. And he doesn't really become a plot point until, what, you would say the last episode or something?
Mm-hmm.
But Batman
his shadow kind of loomed throughout the season.
Oh, here's a question: how did you feel about all the young Dick scenes and the flashbacks and the watching him come into his own and realize that Bruce may be there for him?
I kind of want to see more of young Dick. I want to see him in the costume. Let's see a little classic Robin action.
Yeah.
Just put pants on him.
I mean, listen.
He's
a boy wonder.
Please.
He's a boy wonder.
As much as Gotham is dark and rainy, that boy is getting all the pneumonia.
Oh, dear. He was kind of rebellious, though. I didn't expect him to be that rebellious.
Was there like a previous team? Because we've got flashbacks of like Dick and Hawk and Dove fighting together, and then they mentioned like Donna. So it was like was there already a Titans team, like a Teen Titans team in this universe?
I think there was just like like a babysitters club that they all played in.
They all got to hang out.
So they just knew each other. It was like Rugrats, but with superhero kids.
So you're like, it's like our parents are hanging out, so we might as well go outside and find something to do.
It's the
which was basically like. That's basically how the Titans got together in the first place, huh?
No, definitely. And I really like that whole like Kids in America scene of them just having fun and beating up people as like these joyful teens and stuff like that. And when you mention that, when they show that previous team or the ties to people like Donna Troy, it really makes me feel like it's the comics where they are referencing the OG sidekicks but are also making room for this new team of Titans. But we got. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was gonna say I actually love that this universe, that the Titans universe seems to be like a fully realized DC universe, where it's like we haven't had to see everything that's happened, but they're referencing all these other heroes and all these people that we might never see. But like I like that it's a fully realized DC universe.
No, definitely. The fact that like a lot of these shows feel like everything starts the episode that you watch it. Like everything was perfect until you started to watch, and now everything is going the way that it's going. Whereas this, it does feel like there is blueprints and breadcrumb trails to an actual history with some of these characters. I was absolutely ecstatic by the introduction of Kern Walters as Jason Todd, the second Robin. I mean, I was hyped we got one Robin, but then two Robins, and Jason Todd. I mean, it's weird. I have different relationships with all the Robins, and I like them all very much. But Jason, I feel like was the one we were never gonna get. I felt like Jason was always going to be a suit that was referenced or something like that, especially when we talk about things like BVS, even though he said that was Dick. And but Jason showing up, Jason Todd is now here. Does that set the groundwork up for his eventual passing, do you think?
Oh, I think so. I think absolutely.
So is it ticking clock at this point, Greg? What do you think?
As far as Jason Todd getting getting sent to the other side?
Yeah.
I think so, but I guess it depends on how you want to do it. Like we saw so little of Jason Todd in this show that like now you'd really have to take some time to make him a character that people either care about or, as history repeated, wanted to see dead.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that they put another poll recently when his episode dropped.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did. They put another poll when his episode dropped. They gave you like I think a phone number that you can call and see whether or not you want him to live or die. But in this one, everyone for the most part said they wanted him to live. So I'm glad my boy Jason got another shot. But I thought it was genius writing. All of his adulation of being Robin, all the whole like you don't get to drive the Batmobile, like all that stuff. I felt was perfect because we got to see Dick actualize that his whole time as Robin was his childhood stolen from him, or this man arming him for a war that he probably didn't want to be in, or a bunch of other stuff. Whereas we get this other Robin who loves it. Like he's like, oh, why are you so upset? Like this, he gives me these cool gadgets. I get to kill cops and stuff. He was like killing cops and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was so in it.
No, I was gonna say, I think that one of the things Greg Berlanti does well is create a family dynamic on his hero shows. So I think that the way he had this Jason kind of come in as it was almost like Dick's little brother, where they both got raised by the same parent, but one is like, "Whoa, man, Dad was so fucked up. Dad was so evil," and Jason's like, "What are you talking about? I got raised by the same guy," and it's great. Like you're insane.
What do you guys think of the Batman tracker in the arm?
That is the most Batman.
That's so Batman.
But according to Jason opted for it, right? Dick didn't even know.
Yeah, because why would he tell the people he cares about that
they might be being tracked at all times?
Yes.
That's like the Big Brother thing. The parent, they learned the lesson with the first kid, and with the second kid, they do it right.
Yes, I asked first.
A lot of this show is hindering on Dick Grayson and his identity, his comic lore. They're trying to do a lot of it in the show and showing you the life after Batman and how he responds to things like Jason Todd. When it comes down to Dick Grayson, do you feel he's justified in feeling the way he feels about Batman, or is this like a personal vendetta that they have and he's just making making it bigger because he's trying to fit. If someone asked him, why did you quit Batman? You know, like when you break up with a girl or a girl breaks up with you, and so you start to come up with a reason, a uniform reason to tell everybody why it happened. Do you think Dick Grayson is trying to trump up this whole child soldier thing, and he's too much and he's too brutal because he was fired, or this is honestly how he feels about Batman, and honestly how he feels about his childhood and his upbringing?
I'd like to believe it's honestly how he feels, and like the child soldier thing is pretty legitimate when you look at the whole concept of the Robins on paper.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can't ever solidify that point until they either show it or go from his point of view.
Okay, so you think we're about ready for a little bit of what happened with all that?
Yes.
Or at least where they were.
I need
because we know where they are now.
I need to see the breaking point.
Okay. Yeah, that could definitely be there. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that I think that I know that he believes it for sure, but at the same time, I keep thinking about like the way teenagers react to their parents and how sometimes the things that they perceive aren't exactly what they are. You know, that's kind of what I'm thinking is going on with Dick right now. But he needs this fire right now because this is what makes him Nightwing. The want to separate himself and not become Bruce. That's why he goes to Bloodhaven.
Definitely, and he basically gets his own identity. And I don't know if this was just me that saw it, but I felt like there was a lot of press coming out about at the end of the season you'll get Nightwing. Was that just me?
There?
I felt like I saw don't worry, Nightwing's coming. Don't worry. That, yeah,
they mentioned that he was coming. Like, but at the same time that they were like, Beast Boy will eventually be green, and Starfire will get her costume, and
Beast Boy got his green.
Yeah,
a little bit, right? And like towards the end of his transformation scenes, he would be like green, but
yeah.
It's definitely not permanent yet. It actually looks weird to me, like the green hair thing. It's like, well, but whatever. They said we would get it, and I trust them.
I want to see that suit. I want to see the first ever live action Nightwing suit. I am curious.
I do look forward to that.
I'm curious. Do go shoulder to shoulder with the wings, bro? You understand? Are we doing the whole thing? Are they picking the red or blue? I mean, they're both out there. They're both out there. Your team
they
blue,
got
Yogi?
the Robin suit. They got the Robin suit pretty damn good, but I'm worried that the Nightwing suit is gonna be one of those armor plate outfits they like to use nowadays. I don't like those.
I love the armor plate outfits. Look, your spine will be freaking mud without them out there in the streets.
Yeah, in the streets. Sure. The Bloodhaven streets, bro.
In those dirty Bloodhaven streets.
You know?
I'm totally team blue wings though. We need that blue bird.
Look at that.
I need that blue. I don't need that Phoenix Scott Summers look that he had going on for a while.
How do you guys feel about Dick's interactions with a new hero team that we haven't seen in live action before, Hawk and Dove? We got to see how he deals with Hawk, how he deals with Dove.
Can we talk about the Dove and the lust in Dove's eyes every time she looks at that man?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of been alluded that Hawk. Yeah, she does do. She does though.
She loves Hawk in a broken way.
Well, now that we know the origin story, we can see why she feels so attached to him.
Yeah. And there's a lot of this like trauma as a motivator to connect people going on in this show. With Hawk and Dove, it's I thought it was kind of
I imagine are we past spoiler point at this?
Yeah, we're spoiling it all crazy. It was you try to slip it in, you understand? You try to slip it in. But no, you're right. With Hawk and Dove, I felt like they were it was cool to see them be like, wow, Grayson's kind of gone crazy, because they're the only touch point from before this time that we started watching.
Right.
And so to have those reactions of like, he's a psychopath. Like, it's like, wow, is this the eventuality of being trained under Batman? Is this what like, we're all paths lead under the Bat? Are you going to be looked at by your peers as like, oh, he's the Batman psychic. He's crazy. He's going to be paranoid. Right. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. I thought it was kind of cool to see a different hero's take on what he was going through with Hawk and Dove. But love, you were talking about some love, Dove.
There's a little bit of lust in Dove's eyes every time. I think there's also like the idea that I think Dove, when she does look at him, sees like everything that was before all of this mess.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there's a vision of
she sees like, the Robin she slept with.
Yeah, absolutely.
She did.
But not just the Robin she slept with, but everything before the trauma and the tragedy, and like when things were a little happier.
Yeah, I call that a hump scare. It's not like a jump scare. It's just they just randomly show footage of two people getting down and then they cut. Yeah, that randomly happened, and we have not gone back to that.
No, we haven't.
Go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say, can I also say it took me way too long to realize who the actor was that is playing Hawk, because like,
people know
Thad Castle. You didn't recognize Thad Castle?
That's a great name.
Yeah, no, exactly. But he was also freaking Aquaman in Smallville.
He was.
And I'm like, it took me like I watched episodes of Smallville that had like cool DC things in it. So like when they brought the Legion and the League, but so I was like, oh shit, that's Aquaman. But I didn't notice until way later, and then I'm like, Blue Mountain State. But Hawk and Dove were like. Hawk and Dove were like one of my favorite things that came out of Titans. This version of Hawk and Dove. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about them. Maybe it was I just thought they did such a great job portraying the pain and the brokenness that comes with this iteration of these characters.
Yeah, and they deal with something that's very poignant in trauma, which is this idea that you would want to get revenge on those who have hurt you or caused you discomfort or ruined your life. But when something like an accident happens, it robs you of that revenge. Yeah. And then where do you go with those feelings of it's blameless. Where do you go with that energy that where you want to lash out or you want to uphold the memory of the person that you lost? They were both gone, like lost in the wind when that happened. Mm-hmm. They really did not know where to turn to, and I really like that conversation that Dove has with the lady in the group, where the lady's like, well, sometimes life's not fair, and she's like, why why can't we make it fair? Right. And it's obviously it's way harder than that, but I think that one of the things that appealed people to Hawk and Dove in this series is that they're incredibly flawed and they're incredibly vulnerable. When we first see them, they're kind of badass. Like Hawk is tied up and he's getting beat up, and then Dove comes in, like lightning. Yeah. But then we see Hawk in the bathtub, right, covered in ice, injected himself with stuff, and we see how Dove is like babysitting this guy for a lot of it, and having to constantly heal him to the point of then getting broken again and then healing him, and it's a cycle that we've seen on smaller scales in real life, and to see that written large with Mask, I thought was cool.
I was gonna say, I think that well, first I think that we should take a moment to talk about the story. The backstory that Hawk and Dove had, one, because there might be people listening that didn't actually watch Titans, and two, because I thought that this was a pretty dark origin story for like a superhero show, like with Hawk, because as we were shown, the original Hawk and Dove were not the couple that we got to see, that we got introduced to. It was Hank and his brother, right? So They take us back to their childhood, and they show us that Hawk was actually molested as a child by his gym teacher or like his football coach or something, and that like he takes that pain with him, and he still carries it to this day. In addition to losing losing his brother, which we were shown like a few years after the molestation, they both get kicked out of school, and Hawk and Dove. OG Hawk and Dove, because I forgot his brother's name. Do you guys remember
Donnie?
The brother's name?
Is it Don?
Isn't Hank?
No, the other one. It's Hank and Don, or Hank and I think it's Donnie or Don.
Oh my god, I'm not sure. I feel so bad because the character they end up meeting the new Dove, and then like 5 minutes later, he's dead and her mom is dead, but I feel so bad I don't remember their names.
Random car accident.
Yeah, it was like like you were saying, like random car accident, and then now Hank has this childhood pain in addition to losing the only person he was ever able to lean on. And I think honestly, I was surprised he didn't kill himself by the end of the season. But I think that goes to show how strong this character is right here.
Yeah, so the original team was Hank Hall and Don Hall.
Okay.
Donald.
There you go.
Donnie Hall.
And that was the first thing I sort of noticed about it, where it's just like, it's one of those almost dangerous relationships because it's a trauma-based relationship. Yeah. We've both lost something, and we are using each other to sort of patch these holes in our psyches or in our hearts.
And not for nothing, now that Yogi said that about Hawk and Dove and like what you were just saying together, how they connect them together. If Robin pulls that piece out of that Jenga house, if Robin, for whatever reason, Dove decides that she's gonna leave Hawk is gone.
He falls apart.
You understand? Hawk is like, that's a very dangerous situation there. And the craziest thing about that trauma that he felt with the sexual assault is this idea that he took it so that his brother wouldn't. Or he took more of it so that his brother wouldn't. Like, I will yell at my brother. It's the old, like, get out of here. Like when you yell at the dog, the dog keeps wanting to come, so you scream at it so it runs away. Yep. Like, it was heartbreaking to see him basically curse his little brother out so that his little brother doesn't get molested. And then the fruition of what that becomes is you can't even talk to him about it. Because the second you mention it, that never happened. Nope, don't talk. And how true is that? How many people who experience that trauma fight those memories and fight those experiences, but how much of it is actually in their DNA because of choices they've made because of that? And I thought, man, like, you can't get more vulnerable, you can't get more human than Hawk and Dove in that perspective.
That's the scary thing about every time, like, you kind of see them on screen together. Like you can look at Dove, and every time she sees Dick, like, that's the way out.
Yeah.
That's the way out of all of this. Hank has nothing.
Well, in a way, Hanks is Dove, right? He looks to her and says, as long as she's here, I am out. I am free.
Patch, yeah.
And man, I do not want to see what happens when those two, if those two separate, because
you got to figure there has to be at least like a flashback of what Hank's reaction was when he found out that Dick and Dawn slept with each other, because it did happen, right? You figure he kind of went down went off the deep end for a little bit. I'd love to see that.
But there seems to always be a little bit of like immediate animosity anytime Hawk and Robin like meet each other.
What about that shade in the nightmare sequence where he's like, oh, it's the phone, it's Corey, and she's like, of course it is. And then she's like, Hank is coming over, and he's like, yeah, of course he is. And I was like,
that was a real cool reversal of what was actually happening in real life, where it's like in real life it was Dick that came, and Hank is like, what did you call him for help? We don't need his help. And then in Dick's dream, it's like, what'd you call Hank for help? What, even though it was just like painting the walls. But I just thought that was pretty cool.
How do you guys feel about Dick Grayson? I guess married, having a kid, having a pool house. Yeah, like, we barely get to see, even in the dream sequence, these, like, the more chill, domesticated hero. Right. I'm just jumping to a conclusion that he probably hasn't fought crime in a while. He doesn't look like he has a secret button that's going to open up a bookcase and do a bunch of stuff. And if Jason had to come get him, I'm assuming that it's known that he's hung up the old cape. How do you guys think about Vacation, Dick Grayson?
I just thought it was interesting it was Dawn.
Oh, that it was Dawn? Yeah. Could you imagine if it was Babs?
I was that would have been something for me.
If it was Barbara Gordon?
I was kind of hoping, I would, if I would have known what was coming, that's what I would have hoped for. So I'm glad that I didn't know that that's what's coming. So I kind of just accepted that it was Dawn.
What's your guys over under on Babs showing up in the series as a whole?
I'm going low right now.
Low?
I mean, I don't want to. Okay, so like they seem pretty keen on just introducing things and just throwing them out there, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we got like Oracle Babs eventually. Someone that they can speak to on the phone that doesn't have to show up all the time.
There's only one way you get Oracle Babs, though, is you start with standing Babs, bro. And I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for that right now. But who knows?
Well, I mean, they introduced Jason Todd, right? And there's no way that they brought in Jason Todd and they don't have him killed by the Joker. Even if Dick only finds out in the phone call, Yeah. But so we've already the Joker's been name dropped like how many times in the series?
You
even got to see the back of his head.
You kind of see him at the end, yeah. When he's in like a. You see him when he fell through the car.
He was name dropped, and then he was just dropped.
Then he was actually dropped. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't actually get the Killing Joke. Like we won't have to see it, but like Dick is dealing with his own things, and then he gets the phone call. Oh my God, Babs has been shot, or Jason's dead. All these things.
What great phone calls, right? Poor Dick, right? Now you put it in that scope, that's literally what happens. He gets these calls all the time. Like, by the way,
every time Grayson's phone rings, it's bad.
Yeah. We're gonna need you to be Batman for a while. If you're not busy, do you think you could be Batman for a while? Because Bruce, we haven't found Bruce, and there's a
Tony. Me too.
We didn't get Babs, but we got Donna Troy. Connor Leslie showed up to the scene. The sidekick of Wonder Woman. If you go into Donna Troy's lore, it's one of the most convoluted and confusing comic book characters I've ever experienced, and that's saying something when you think of the myriad of characters that exist. They keep Donna Troy afloat in media without ever actually giving her an anchor, the character an anchor, which is interesting because that shows you that they're interested in the character, but they're just not interested in giving her anything to do or to say. But I thought that Connor Leslie was incredibly charismatic, and I really liked her chemistry with Brandon Thwaites. I like their brother-sister kind of deal. I didn't get any flirtation vibes. What do you guys think?
No, they definitely didn't have any of those flirtation vibes, because you saw when she immediately noticed that he's banging Corey,
girlfriend.
So it's definitely a brother sister thing. I thought she did a great job as Donna, but like you mentioned, Donna's got this wild, confusing, mixed up continuity to her where it's luckily for the people that are making Titans, it's a clean slate, so you can pick and choose what you want from her story that you want to put onto this Donna Troy right here. So it's she's lucky to not have to deal with actual Donna's history issues. But I thought she did a great job.
I appreciated their little it's almost of a turn to childlike form with them.
Yeah,
they get to be kids, and
the veil comes down, right?
Yeah, they're just honest and open with each other, and when they first meet up, and she's just well, gotta catch up with me, and just jumps over the thing, and he has to jump over it, and they're just trying to top each other.
And he gives her a look of awe, I forgot she's so badass. This is it's funny that you say that whole the veil's been dropped with them, because I honestly got that. Dick is constantly guarded in this series, and he doesn't know where people are, the people that come into his life, he doesn't know for what reason. But with Donna, he seems very relaxed to the point that he's I'll go to an art gallery. It is what it is. And
in addition,
they know each other on a level that few
person that he can relate to, and that she's trying to get away from the same things that he's trying to get away from.
Yeah, and in real life, when you have a friend that literally has been through the same exact thing you've been through, it's so much easier to come forth and be hey, I don't know what's going on, I need some help, I need some guidance. How do you feel? My favorite part of her inclusion in here was the conversation where she says something Batman raises on vengeance, and Wonder Woman raises on hope and love, and that's the reason why we have two different outlooks on all of this. You were raised under the house of, Wayne, and that's what happens there. And I never thought about it like that, and I guess it's obvious, but to think, that these schools of thought, whether you're a Superman, a Batman, a Wonder Woman, down to a Deathstroke, that right. your mentality is what you're impressing down, and that it's going to affect the perspective of that person's entire world is going to be informed from there. So it was so obvious to Donna that, oh, you just feel this way because you were with Batman, bro. That's that's the obvious progression there. And to have Donna there makes me think, are we pointing to a Wally? Is Wally showing up? Are we getting an Aqualad? Do you think that more superpowers would ruin the grounded tone of this show?
To a degree.
Oh, we got a yes and no. I want to hear this.
To a degree. But I mean, like I said earlier, this is a fully realized DC universe. You know, it's already full of metas and weird shit. So it's like, it wouldn't be strange to think that more of them are gonna pop up.
I refer mostly just to like what the main characters are and what kind of tone of the show we're going to be following. Like, I'm not saying they can't show up, but at the same time, it's like you balancing out exactly what kind of show and what kind of a direction we're going in here. Whether we're talking about people who are balancing out their adventures and their traumas while dealing with weird magical devil thing.
Right. No, I can see it both ways. I can see a world in which you are just opening up the doors a little bit more, because there are fantastical things going on in here. Mm-hmm. So you just be opening up the door a little bit more. But also when we see an introduction of a new hero who will probably be joining the Titans, and they have powers. They do. It's point blank period.
Absolutely.
They've got powers. So they have to do their best on this show to show that they need more than just that. Because if he can do everything by himself, or if Corey can do everything by herself, mm-hmm. then what's the need for the team? And I also wonder if once they start breaking open that meta, toy chest, if that's going to allow for a more comic accurate Beast Boy, or more comic accurate Raven. Like, are they waiting for more fantastical to add those layers to these already grounded and gritty versions of these characters?
For sure. Well, you got to figure. Imagine, think to how they did. Think to how Greg Berlanti does his CW shows. They give you a little bit. They tease you, and then you're like, are they really going to? No way, they will. And then eventually we have a multiverse, and the Crisis on Infinite Earths is happening. So it's like, I can easily see them. I could easily see them expanding. And I actually also remember, like, Jeff Johns mentioning that the Titan show was gonna be like the original trailer showed everything like all dark and gritty and like a horror, because we're dealing with Raven's story right now. But as we deal with other stories, it will feel like different genres.
Oh, that makes sense. I can see that.
I understand it.
Well, yeah, we might as well talk about the other person I feel like is spotlit the most in these series of episodes, spotlighted, which is Tegan Croft plays Rachel Roth, aka Raven. Raven's character history is she debuted in DC Comics Presents number 26, October of 1980. That's the same comic in which Starfire and Beast Boy also debuted as members of the Teen Titans, their very first introduction as a part of the team. But Raven is famously the daughter of Trigon, a powerful demon trapped in another dimension, and it gives her that kind of like deadly duality, because she can harness his immense energy to achieve her means and stuff. So she battles this urge to kind of give in to her father's desires to join him, because he kind of wants to bring about the apocalypse and make it like a family thing. Oh, yeah. But
the family business is large.
My favorite part of their little relationship is that the fact that Trigon is kind of stuck on his side, and that he's always reaching out somehow. Like, he's always sending feelers, or he's trying to go through a mirror, or trying to, it's that looming thing in the shadows. And he's not looming because he's being calculated. He's looming because he can't get from the other side. So he needs he needs to break through to that side. But even though she has the genetics of evil in her body, she chooses at every path to be a hero, and is an important member of the Teen Titans. I read not only this issue of DC Comics Presents, which is really, really odd, because it gets the team together, Robin, Starfire, Raven, and Beast Boy, but it's Robin fighting crime by himself, and then all of a sudden it flashes, and he wakes up and he's a member of the Teen Titans. And everyone's like, and he's like, what are you guys all doing here? And they're like, shut up, Robin. Why are you acting like you don't know what the heck this is? This is the Teen Titans. Remember, you know Raven, you know Beast Boy. And then it ends with Dick coming back into the real world. Okay. And like, I don't know what just happened. I just had a whole adventure with my team of Titans that I don't know. And you see Raven like, don't worry, Robin, it will all come to pass soon, or whatever like that. And so she I guess that was all like a future sequence that he was showing her or something like that. But
good old future sequences.
But in most iterations, it's Raven as the glue, because she's the one saying Thanos is coming, aka the Trigon is coming, and then they choose to huddle around her and then become a team. But in this show, Tegan Croft, who plays Rachel, is the youngest member of the team. The actress is actually 14. Dick Grayson's actor is 29, Corey is 30, and Gar is 23. So she's the only actual teen on this team. How did you guys feel about Raven's portrayal? And I do think that a lot of this portrayal had to do with their choice to make her this age in comparison to her counterparts on the team.
I guess that makes sense. It's kind of the idea of just like this village banding together to like protect this child who is also
demon child,
half demon child.
I feel you.
Being chased by weird cultist,
baby,
family people.
People just cutting their own throats and stuff. It's getting crazy around Raven.
It was a little interesting, sort of like watching the show, and as it progressed, it was like Raven became the nucleus for all these people's different stories.
Yes.
Like Raven just by happenstance becomes the girl that or Rachel becomes the girl just by happenstance that Gar runs into, and he kind of takes a liking to and tries to take her in.
Yeah, and she's also the focal point of all Corey's mission to be on Earth is to deal with this. And
this becomes this linchpin for Robin that he can't quite get away from.
Yeah, no, and she becomes the focal point. My thing is, I think I wanted a Raven with more agency, and I see why they did it this way. The character is extremely emotional. That she's an empath, and so but I feel like in comics she's been kind of portrayed as kind of stoic, even though she's an empath. I've read her stuff. I've seen some of the animated series, and she seemed more composed. But this is an origin story of sorts, so we have to see the growing pains.
Everything I've seen of Raven, but it kind of just makes her out to be like Daria to me.
Okay, like just over everything all the time.
Yeah,
I can.
Well,
see
you gotta figure. We never get to see how she became this way. Like they give us Raven as the what does she call herself in the cartoon? Was she nice and mean? She's mean or whatever it is she is. Yeah. But then they give us the origin, like how how Trigon and her mom got together. But we never get to see what made her this jaded, like how she got this way. So I was like, I get why they're doing this first, and I even enjoyed it a little bit. Yeah, I thought it was I thought that it was a great setup for the Raven that we know and love. Like this is a great foundation, and it seems to be headed in the right direction. So I was okay with what we got.
I think that they really killed it with those. I mean, a lot of her scenes were horrifying. Mm-hmm. The horrific nature of that character does lend to a lot of what we saw there. A lot of like exorcism X stuff, right. Stuff in the mirror, cutting people's throats.
I got freaked out by like, oh yeah, remember that thing I healed for you? Yeah, let's just put
I'm just gonna take that away. What about when that first guy? That first guy she kills, where she like her soul self goes inside of him, and then he just like vomits everything he's ever his lungs and his ribs and all that stuff. Comes this black goo, and he just dies. And it's like, what did you do to him? And she's like, I was just sitting right here. I didn't do anything. And that the idea that this big horrifying force is behind this little girl, I thought that worked well. Mm-hmm. She dealt a lot with a lot of cultists, which I think is an analog for that whole cult of Trigon that exists in the comics, or the cult of Brother Blood that's constantly trying to bring in. There's literally a group of people who every day wake up trying to bring Trigon into this world. They wake up and they go, "Oh, hell, mighty Trigon! All right, what are we gonna do what are we gonna do today to bring Trigon into this world?" And they speak like they did on the show, very in prophecy. And don't worry, when he shows up, everything's gonna be good and everything's gonna be fine and dandy. And I don't know about all that.
The spaceship's gonna come.
And then we actually got Trigon, who he first appeared in New Teen Titans #2, February of 1981, and I wanted Trigon with antlers. I'm sorry.
I wanted to see real Trigon, four eyes or 6 eyes or whatever it is.
Eyes is what I was
so
for.
angry. When they showed the hand,
the eyes more so like the antlers. Like that's Jesus Christ.
I wanted hooves and I wanted mutton chops. I like the sideburned Trigon.
At the very least, I know that we're going to get it. Like I know that we're gonna get it, but like I really wanted it off the bat.
Do you really think we'll get it?
Yeah, absolutely. When he stuck his hand out the mirror, he had the demon hand go in there, and then he transformed himself into something more appealing, so he can get Raven on his side. But eventually,
I imagine it's just something you'll see in the final. Like it'll be like the final thing you see.
It's a lot of money, you know. Yeah. So I don't think we're gonna see a lot of it, but we're absolutely gonna see it at least once.
How do you guys feel about the relationship between Raven and Beast Boy? We know that this is something that's flirted around a bit, especially in the animated series, where they kind of sort of, they flirt and they kind of dig each other.
They're the youngest on the team, right? They'd be the horniest.
Yes,
that makes sense.
I mean, but Dick Grayson, Dick Grayson out here, I don't know, man. I don't know anymore.
I'm worried that they're gonna have Dick, bang every girl have banged every girl that we get introduced to, and then that's when you start getting the complaints. Like,
I apparently like beating people half to death is like an aphrodisiac because these women on this show are like all like, woo, damn, that was hot. Let's go back to the house.
But apparently, it's also the only way Hawk can get it up.
Oh yeah, right. Because Hawk's all like, rage. I dig
too many pills.
I told you it was real. I told you he was real. He's the realest one on the show. All right. Sometimes it takes. I'm not talking from personal experience, but sometimes it takes a little bit of something. A lot of people feel like Raven's plot was put on hold, and there's a very polarizing episode of this series. I think it's the 4th episode of this series where we get the introduction to the Doom Patrol. How did you gentlemen feel about the introduction to the Doom Patrol, this backdoor pilot that's supposed to be opening up the gates for their own show on the DC Universe app? How do you feel about the introduction to all those cast of characters? I mean, they're decades old at this point, debuting in June of 1963. But yeah, they're here and they're active.
I thought it was alright. I thought it was kind of like cute in a way that they did all of it. Like Brendan Fraser's character just seems like adorable and kind of likable in a way. He's just kind of like, he's worried. He just wants to follow all the rules and doesn't want any trouble.
Yeah, I dig that.
He's real comfortable here. He doesn't want any changes.
I thought it was okay. I thought they killed 2 birds with 1 stone. You got to get Beast Boy's history with the Doom Patrol, and you also got the backdoor introduction to these people that are gonna get their own series. So I was like, okay, as long as it wasn't like one of those backdoor pilots that's completely removed from the plot. Like I get that they moved away from the Raven thing for a little bit, but we still were getting we like the reason that the Titans were seeing them was because we were dealing with Beast Boy's past, so it was still like related to this show. So I was like, okay, I get it.
I do think it's important for Beast Boy to make that choice. People, right? Oh yeah, I think so. But I also think it's very important to show Beast Boy make that choice, right? Because that's a choice he makes in the comics. So it'd be cool to have him choose the Titans. I feel like the Chief was kind of played almost villainous at that point. Yeah, and I get that they had like a dichotomy of like, well, I'm in charge and I also am worried about you, so I'm going to be a little bit on top of your case when it comes to stuff. Yeah. But there were certain points where I felt like lightning could strike in the background when he said something. And I'm like, oh, are they going for more? Like,
here's the thing.
That's like really comic accurate though, because like Chief is a bit of a dick. He's but he runs shit the way that he wants to. And when it doesn't go his way, he gets a little bit. I felt like they got the tone right. You do get that feeling from him. Like, is there something more to this guy? Like, what's going on?
I got the tone from it that I was already clued in on the fact that this actor wasn't sticking around.
Okay.
Because they cast someone different for the Chief in Doom Patrol.
That's crazy.
Great choice, though. Great choice to do that.
I'm totally down with Timothy Dalton.
Oh, Timothy Dalton.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
With his
amazing
weird face and his voice and his here comes the fuzz. But like I felt as I'm watching, I was just like, okay, this guy isn't gonna last long anyway, so him acting like a dick is gonna come back around.
Right. What scale from 1 to 10? How excited are you guys for Doom Patrol?
About a 4.
I'm not like, oh my god, Doom Patrol's coming, because they're not gonna. It's not like they're fucking doing Morrison's run or anything. It's not like casual audience can even take that. But I'm excited to see. I'm just excited to see this DC universe expand.
You want to see more stuff unfold, and I mean, it's confirmed.
More of it. Yep.
It's confirmed with their introduction into Titans that these will be at least existing in the same universe. Do you think we get that same treatment with things like Swamp Thing? Do you think at a swamp nearby this is going on at the same time?
I almost don't want Swamp Thing to be connected to everything else because it's such a. It is so if yeah, it's very unique. Like it's very unique. I mean, I guess with what they were doing with Raven and everything, and you got all this magic, I guess it would fit. It would absolutely fit, and you wouldn't have to make too many references to anything else because he's all the way in Louisiana. But it doesn't. I wouldn't be mad if Swamp Thing isn't attached to Doom Patrol and Titans, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Okay.
I just want to believe that Swamp Thing knows all like 87 ways you can make shrimp.
Okay, I think he does.
Boil shrimp, saute shrimp.
I don't think that. I'm not sure that he can eat. Can he eat? Does he eat? He eats the sex fruit. But
yeah. This is true.
What?
It gets hairy with with Mr. Thing.
This is why
Swamp Thing.
I've read one Swamp Thing book. And like, okay, it's not even a Swamp Thing book. I've read the one story that they did with Batman and Swamp Thing, where Swamp Thing just tricks Batman into this like
the Brave and the Mold.
Yeah, where he just like drags Batman unknowingly into this murder run, and then just like, yeah, I'm leaving now.
At the behest of Yogi, I did pour through some of that Alan Moore stuff, and I struggle to even put it into words because it's very unique to it, and it asks questions that you wouldn't think of asking in the illustration. It's all just crazy. You got to be willing to just go into this world.
It's an Alan Moore book.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. I get he does pray to a serpent, so I understand why all that would go that way.
I appreciated the running joke that it didn't last for very long, but when they started drawing Swamp Thing as Alan Moore,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, the freaking book ended up getting canned, right?
Yeah,
what was it that happened? That was messed up. What happened with that title? I'm sure, almost certain that
it was
what was it?
He prayed to the
they
wrong
had
snake.
drawn like 4 issues or something, and then they had to throw it away. And then by that point, the creative team was like, screw you guys.
We need more
home.
damage, all right, Yogi. We need more damage, and that's what we need. We don't need any more Swamp Thing.
Oh,
More damage.
That's what fucking all these goddamn gimmicks with this new line, new age of DC heroes. All of them are dead. Every single one of those books are now dead. You're happy,
that's crazy.
Dio.
That was so crazy that all that happened.
It doesn't matter though because Silencer's on the TV show.
Yeah, Silencer did. Yeah, she's immune. She's immune to the snap.
I'll see you in 2 years when the next major DC event needs cannon fodder to die.
I definitely see that happening.
You got all the kids on Twitter singing the praises of Sideways because they all seem to love that book.
Oh yeah, well the kids need a new hero, I guess.
It's a fun book, but at the same time, look at that. It's also dead. We even predicted this, didn't we? If you go back, if you're listening to us, and you go back to the early episodes, we knew this would happen. These gimmicks don't work, people.
We try to gauge the shelf life of the new age of heroes, and to a resounding, like, they were all going to be duds, and they kind of all did. And that's not to say that people didn't work hard on them, but I do think that the introduction of a lot of these people was too ham-fisted. It was too, like...
Yes, these gimmicks don't work, as I read the comic adaptation of the Venom movie.
The $1 billion Venom movie. You watch your mouth.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
How surprised is that, though?
We dragged Michelle Williams into this. You are so much better than this, Michelle.
Here, I got the craziest tangent to go off on. Has anyone noticed that the current Punisher art makes him look like Dolph Lundgren?
Does it? Oh, I guess I can see that.
I was like, what? I was like, my man Dolph Lundgren. Oh, snap. He's killing it. He was in Aquaman. He was in Creed 2. I was like, he's back. It's the
Dolph Lundgren comeback.
Lundgren is back. They got to get him for Titans. They got to get him for Titans. A lot of this story is the Raven prophecy. Trigon is going to use his daughter to escape his demons, and it brings us face to face with guys like Dr. Adamson and the nuclear family. We meet basically the cultists in an asylum trying to get Trigon out. I don't think the nuns were evil.
No.
Right? The nuns were just trying to, like, stop the apocalypse, maybe?
They wanted her locked up and they wanted her mom locked up, right? So I don't think that they worked with the cult that wanted to bring Trigon out. I think that they were.
No, it's just if we hide these two people, everything will be fine.
Yeah, but also you gotta watch because sometimes the narrative is we should just kill the door that he's gonna come through, right? So I thought we were gonna eventually get to there.
In a way, like, were they wrong? You know, like you don't want to kill a little girl, right? Killing a little girl is wrong, right? But
I mean, are we gonna have no baby Hitler conversation?
You don't have to. Go watch Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
Like, this is even worse than Hitler. Like, that's the legitimate devil.
But I'm telling you, Yogi, if you go watch Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, they deal with what you should do with a child if he is the second coming of the devil. It's legitimately the entire crux of that movie. Whether or not you kill the kid or whether or not you keep him alive. And by the way, Idris Elba is in that movie.
Oh God.
Idris Elba, who does he owe money to that he felt like he needed to be in the Nick Cage Ghost Rider sequel?
Yo, Bill's got to be paid, man.
Hey, it is.
Early Idris took a lot of weird roles.
Yeah, he did. Early Idris. Early. I like that phrase. Early Idris. Early Idris.
So here's the thing, and we'll just use this as our unofficial transition anyway. I'm still bugged about the one question I haven't gotten answered, which is, I get how Raven on some level is the nucleus between all these characters in some like happenstantial way.
Right.
What the heck does Raven have to do with space people?
With Tamar. Am I saying that right?
Tamaranian. He's not just the Earth's devil.
Not the comic problem though, but I mean, like, I want to know what the problem is here.
Oh, well, you know what? We'll get into that in a second because I don't think that they gave this particular member much to go on and didn't give us much to go on. And I'm talking about our girl, Coriander, aka Corey Anders, Anna Diop playing Starfire. You know, this character, debuted in the 1980s alongside with Raven and stuff, and she's a royal member of her race. And her sister betrayed their planet and forced her into slavery. She was able to break out, come to Earth, and join the first Teen Titans. Her and Dick Grayson eventually develop a romance, and that's lasted decades before kind of petering out. But she was such a humongous member of the Teen Titans. Every iteration of the Teen Titans, Starfire is there. But before we even got the first episode, Anna Diop has to leave social media because people flame the set photos.
Can we talk about that for a second? We have to because so there was some a little legitimate, like, some people had legitimate gripes. It was like, what's the Raggedy Ann wig? What was the fur coat? But some people took it like way too far. Like, some people didn't have a problem with the wig and the coat. They had a problem with the skin color, and that's where the issue arises. Like that's where the problem is when it comes to fandoms. Like, you got people who were like legitimately like, man, that looks off. And then you have people that were like, why
she should die because it looks off. Yeah.
Do you know, like, insanity, complete insanity.
Orange people to cast.
All the orange people.
Like, I guess the president is orange, right? But
yeah, he might be Tamaranian. We need to look into that.
I hope not. No, but
did you imagine that hair catching fire? What's left of it?
Oh, God.
That hair.
Is that even flammable? Well, no, but what I was saying
best planet. It's the greatest planet. We have the greatest. We could all have green eyes.
It's fantastic.
You had these two separate sets of complaints, right? But then they kind of got bunched up together, and that became like this insane, huge storm of negativity that just kind of. And I don't blame Anna for leaving social media at all after that. That's just insane.
I looked at it from the same direction as everyone else at the time that the photos got released. I was just like, why are you complaining about humans in regular clothes? What did you expect people in clothes to look like?
Yeah. I'm a little bit taken aback by the look of Starfire, and my only frame of reference comes from cosplay. That's my only frame of reference. I've seen this outfit cosplayed before. I've seen girls do this, and none of them are orange. I've seen it done from every race, from Asian to Black, Hispanic, and white, and they've all done it. And I thought that the outfit itself looked better. So when I saw it in this, go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say that I guess that's like one of the bad things about set photos being leaked. Like everybody saw this photo of Starfire in the hooker coat and the party curls, but when you watch the show, you realize, oh, it's because Starfire was undercover partying with like Russians, with like Red Star and his son. So like this wasn't her real look, but this is what we had to go off of. So everyone's like, why does Starfire look like a hooker?
The only negativity I had about that whole outfit for the entire show was just like, by the 8th episode, I'm like, man, that coat must stink.
Yeah, you gotta put that thing away, girl.
No,
you gotta put that thing away, girl.
She looked so good as FBI agent Corey, though, like with the straightened hair. I was like, man, you look great. That looks so good, and that gave me hope for her future, like for the future. Like I know she's not gonna look like this. Now I know that, though. I didn't know.
And early on, they go to great lengths to show that when she, is in the zone and chooses to use her powers, that her skin glows orange, and her eyes glow green, and that her hair turns to flames, which is what we know of Coriander Starfire. And I also think that first scene, when you see her light that whole office ablaze, that told you from the get, like, you're not dealing with just a jokester character. We're like, this is somebody that they're gonna spend time developing with their powers. You take her seriously because she is gonna be on this team.
We're not doing the thing the Starfire that doesn't get like Earth dialect.
Exactly right.
I'm kind of sad that we didn't get that. First, I'm kind of sad that we didn't get like this. Like, you didn't have to be comedic relief, but I'm sad that we didn't get the Starfire that was like saying "duh"
that doesn't
all the
get
time.
Adjectives and stuff.
But one of the things that put me off, like, why she has like actual fire for powers here, and I was like, oh, okay, because of the name, I guess. I want to know what went into making the decision. Like, is it because they were trying to figure out why she's called Starfire if she doesn't have any fire powers? Like, everything doesn't have to be so on the nose, guys.
You talking about the lack of star bolts.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, it's not like a big issue. I'm not like, oh god, I hate this Starfire because she shoots out fire instead of green lasers. But it's just a thing that I was like, whoa, I wonder why they did that.
Yeah, it could definitely be just a shorthand for fire. Like, we don't want to explain what this green stuff is. So,
like, oh, she's a solar powered alien? Fantastic fireballs.
The crazy thing is, the actress I thought she was incredibly charismatic, and I thought that her playing playing off of Dick Grayson, playing off of Raven, playing off of Donna Troy sometimes, I thought she did a really, really good job, especially when she's sitting down having that conversation with Rachel in the car, where she's like, your powers come from darkness, my powers come from light, and you're able to see like a humor to her. You can see that she's not this stoic alien, because you get that a lot too, right? Where I'm just a stoic alien, I don't get things, so I can't laugh.
She's a little cocky.
She was when she first kills those guys. She kind of like laughs to herself, like, "Oh snap! I can kill people with my powers."
When she was up against Donna, and Donna's like, "I'm the girl that knocked you out," and she's like, "I'd love to see you try that again."
I want to try to see you try that again. Okay. Yeah, that was really, really cool. I really, really dug that. What with Starfire, a lot of it was that she could not remember why she was there, and it turns out that she was sent there to, I guess, there's a word that's interchangeable in Tamarian or Sumerian, that she could either go protect or go kill Rachel or something like that. She's either doing one of the other two, but ultimately she's there to prevent the apocalypse. How do you guys feel about the initial early rumors that Anna Diop was actually playing Blackfire?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I thought those were just racist jokes.
Yes, I can see that. Is Blackfire like noticeably darker than Starfire? I don't think so.
She has black hair, but you know what? Now, putting the racist jokes aside,
yeah,
I think that this Starfire's attitude was more in line with Blackfire.
Okay, I can see
just
that.
Her all around cockiness, her willingness to kill, all these things, like her straight, and her ability to grasp the concept of pronouns. All very Blackfire,
which is most important, right?
I mean, I'm gonna be surprised if introduce like a twin and did like the CGI thing later on, which would be a twist on the Blackfire story.
Yeah. What do you guys think about her sliding down the bat pole so early? With Mr. Grayson. This is a romance we know spans the animated series, spans all versions. You know, even Robin and Starfire and Teen Titans Go are a little bit, flirty cutie kind.
I just felt bad that the concierge lady didn't get hers.
Oh yeah. Well, she was like impressed with the amount of action Corey could get, because she was like, oh, "You want me to send more men to your room?"
So this Corey is definitely like bisexual, right? We got that. We definitely that's the tone that I got from.
Well, like, cause it looked like you're not the only one. A lot of people got that tone, and to the point that people were thinking that there was. I didn't get it, but he's not the only one that feels this way, because I heard people saying they wanted to see something between Donna Troy and Starfire. They wanted, because they knew that.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, listen.
Let's do
at
it.
This point, at this point, it is. But you wouldn't even consider it unless you thought the character was bisexual. So they and when you're alien, you have that opening.
She seemed like she wanted to get involved.
Yeah. Yeah,
like the
she
whole
felt bad.
Like she's like, get in on that.
They call that fear of missing out. That's what they call
that. What was I gonna say about Starfire? I thought it was weird that they kind of threw in the Starfire Dick romance and then tossed it to the side. Like, they just had sex and it was like a thing. It wasn't like,
what I thought was incredibly interesting about that was that Dick kind of used sex to shut her up. She was asking him something, and he's like, "Let me get your glass real quick, girl. We don't need to talk about none of that. Let me show you the Grayson."
Very Dick.
All these important things here for no reason.
And you don't usually see. Yeah, it is. It's a very Dick Grayson way to like skirt around the idea, but you don't really see that in dramas. You don't really see like a guy use sex to change the subject or anything like that. He used it as a tool, and it was like, oh, all right.
In its own way, it's like one of the more unique points about Dick Grayson compared to most other characters. Like, he's the most like sexualized male character in comic books.
Yeah. I see that.
He would use that charisma to his advantage if he could, like get out of a situation or out of a line of questioning. Which
brings the that speaks very much to like people like protagonists like James Bond. Which is why you get things like Spiral, and you get the actual transition of the detective, of the agent, and stuff like that here. It was cool to see them go with the whole Corey and Dick thing.
Nightwing last year, and I think he slept with 3 women in that 1-year run.
Oh my gosh!
I was talking about the sexualization of Nightwing. Like, one thing that this show didn't get, right? Okay, like, for the fans out there that are listening and that watch Titans but don't read too many comics, you should know that one of the long running, I guess, jokes but legit trivia things about Dick Grayson is that he's got the best ass in the DC universe. So
I've heard this.
In the
readily admits going to town on that thing.
You think I can fit more Grayson ass on this page? Of course you can.
So I think that one of the things, like, okay, so Brandon was great as Robin, right? As Dick. He didn't have the Dick butt though. He did that wasn't there.
Maybe that's a season 2 expense. That might be a season 2 expense.
We need an episode about Dick's ass and the effects that it has on the people around him.
You just have to shoot it the same way you shoot women in that, like,
exactly.
That Michael Bay exploitative way.
Yeah, we'll show it from her backside, but we'll shoot it around hip level because that was
You gotta get that low angle shot right as Nightwing lands off the fire escape.
That's it. Right, but you understand it's either Dick's ass or Trigon, so they gotta find. They can only afford one, and I have a feeling we're gonna get Dick's ass. So whatever's important, whatever's most important.
Much more important to the lore, okay?
Whatever's most important. Oh my God. Starfire, she kind of dies in the last episode. I mean, it's a dream sequence. She gets hit by one of Freeze's guns, I think.
Yes.
And is incapacitated.
Reference to everything in that one episode.
Yes, this is true. I heard the scuttlebutt is that the first episode of the season is going to feel more like a restarting of a whole new thing, which is probably what the last episode of a season should be, and then you come into that story in the new season. But it like season episode 1 and 2 is going to be a 1-2 punch of ending the last season's arcs and starting the new ones. Supposedly.
So I thought like this ended because okay, like usually the DC shows go for 22 episodes, so I kind of thought that this was just half of the Trigon story. But you're talking about them ending Trigon and moving on to something else next season.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a little fast.
Like mid-season?
Well, I when I think of this whole Trigon thing in general, it screams to me very much like New 52 Justice League, where we're not going to do the regular origin of them all meeting each other by one by one in nice ways and then becoming friends and then choosing to be a team and then whatever. That Justice League just joins to fight Darkseid. Darkseid comes, so they all kind of like look to each other. Hey, you guys down with taking this guy out? And they don't kill Darkseid. They just send him back, and then he comes back. 9 volumes later or something like that. So
yeah,
I can see them doing the same thing. I can see them doing the same thing with Trigon, where they just find a way to get him back on that side, and then we deal with the aftermath of all that. But does that mean that everything we've hoped for is in episode 1 of season 2? Does that mean we get a Nightwing? Does that mean that we get, I don't know, maybe the Titans? Do we get the name drop? Do they have to be called Titans? That's a question too, right?
You don't have to be, but the show is called Titans, and they are the Titans, so you might as well. I mean,
what's the worst that can happen?
I can't see them being in the T-shaped tower, but
no, I had asked that off air if we think we're gonna get Titans Tower, but what's the worst that can happen? If they don't call them Titans, they could just call them the Vigilantes or the Hood for 3 seasons, right? I mean, that's been done. The streak.
God.
We'll just keep it.
When it comes to Young Justice, is one of the things that kills me. Is like, we're the team, dude. I need a name for these guys, okay? I need a name. We're the team.
But Young Justice seems kind of pretentious, right? If you're gonna name that yourself, it does. But then it's always Justice League.
You're gonna call yourself Justice, but like, they're also not gonna be called the team. Because if they were thinking that having a name is like maybe unrealistic or whatever, then not having a name is even more so unrealistic. Even
a lot of teams get together where it's just like we're just guys out to do a job.
Not though. Like they're a sanctioned.
Everyone else.
They got get that B designation. When it comes like what are they classified as on the Justice League computers? Like what I need a name for these guys. And I don't even name for the
055.
Oh, remember that?
056.
When they have the numbers, when they go to the Justice League headquarters and they all have numbers.
057.
They still do actually. Yeah, they're doing that on just. Yep. No.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But I guess this makes me the saddest because we're gonna talk about the last member of this team, the last core member of this team, which I think gets kind of a short shrift. Our boy Ryan Potter as Garfield Logan / Beast Boy. Like I said, Beast Boy debuted as far as the Teen Titans in DC Comics Presents number 26 in 1980s, in October of 1980. Garfield Logan was raised by his rich scientist parents in Africa. It is there that he contracted a rare disease called Secutia, which is lethal to every species except the West African green monkey. To save his life, his father used an untested serum to change him into a West African green monkey for 24 hours so the virus could die out, but it had the unintended effects of making everything green and granting him the ability to metamorph into any animal of his choice. He joined the Doom Patrol and later the Raven-led New Teen Titans. But did you guys know that prior to being cast as Beast Boy, Ryan wanted to play Tim Drake along Ben Affleck's Batman?
Really? Well, was that like his dream, or like was he
did like an online push for? He did like an online push, share this hashtag, let them know.
Well, the kid he got into DC Comics, so take that as a win.
I do remember hearing something a few years back of just like possible Asian Robin.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard Anna. they was talking about Anna Kendrick wanting to be like Carrie Kelly, but that's as far as I heard when it comes to Ben Affleck.
Or anything.
Yeah, I get so mad. Why do they go so far? Like, you haven't even done the books right. Why are you trying to make new books? Like, why are you trying to make new lore?
He's just like, let's do this shit. I'm not gonna be here long. I want to do it all.
From everything that you've
what is your problem with Carrie Kelly? Wait a minute.
I like the glasses.
Wait a minute.
I like a nearsighted psychic. That's my bag right there. A nearsighted psychic. That's what I need. Depth perception. Screw that. No, I'm joking.
Right, glasses in the year 20 whatever are just fashion statements. Okay, they were green.
That's it. People got spiked heads, so I can, things are weirder. How do you guys feel about?
It's 2019. No, you go ahead.
How do you guys feel about Gar? From everything that you've seen prior to this of Beast Boy, Gar Logan, how did you guys feel about this iteration of Garfield Logan?
It just didn't get enough time to shine, I think. Not this season. There just wasn't enough time for Gar to get his spotlight, I think. And it'll come. It just wasn't time yet.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting enough for I liked all the little playoffs they did between him and Rachel, which is really the most I got out of it. Because then, I thought college Rachel and Gar was cute as heck when they did the dream sequence.
Huh? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was pretty cute with the when are you coming to visit?
Yeah, how do you say, surrogate daddy Dick Grayson just hey, you silly kids.
Got me using Skype, all this kind of stuff.
Not be going to them frat parties, you silly buggers.
Is the lack of Gar, does that have to do with lack of a definitive story for this character? I don't know a Beast Boy story. I'm a neophyte, so I could just be wrong, but I would like to know.
He's like a perennial side character. He's always a supportive character. He's got some arcs that deal with him, but has there even ever been a Beast Boy solo book? And should there be? Because not every character doesn't need to be a main character. Some characters exist just to support other ones, and that's okay. So if anything, that gives him just a little more of a clean slate with Beast Boy, because he doesn't. It's not he's got his story, but his story always intertwines with other stories. So you can pick and choose and do whatever you want with your version of the character.
Especially since taking a side character or just a team character and giving them their own story or their own book now leads to the trouble where we are separating him obviously from this other cast of characters, but we need to give this character their own cast. So now we must create a of people for this person to be surrounded with.
Like the Flash.
Yeah.
Where you now have to put other people in there. You have to mess with Caitlin Snow a little bit, mess with the vibe a little bit, just so that he has people to talk to about what's going on and stuff. Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
So now if you wanted to make Caitlin, if you wanted to take that and okay, we're gonna make a show about Caitlin Snow. It's fantastic. Who does she talk to?
Exactly right. On the team? Exactly. No, you're right.
At least she had a husband at one point. So
she's been Caitlin. That's a whole nother cast. Caitlin Snow every season has a date. Every season, that girl is killing boyfriends. Every season, one of her boyfriends dies.
I'm still angry that Robbie Amell just kind of dumped the Flash show where he thought were greener pastures, and nothing came of it.
That's what happens, B.
You know what?
Sometimes they don't pan out.
Do you know the movie Mad Money? Do you know the movie Mad Money with Queen Latifah, Diane Keaton, and Katie Holmes? That's the movie that Katie Holmes chose to make instead of The Dark Knight. Queen Latifah and Diane Keaton instead of Christian Bale and Mike Cocaine.
And all this money.
And Heath Ledger's Joker.
It's when
they burn the pile of money, that is all of Katie Holmes' paycheck.
Yeah, that's what that was. That was her actual paycheck.
And all of her
realized
residuals that she was supposed to get for the rest of her life.
My God. Scientology, bro.
Oh man,
Gar. There's two definitive things about Gar in this series that they want you to know. Well, three, I guess. One is that he does have this hunt for family, but I think that that's something that a lot of these characters have. But I think the two most important are A, he can only at this point transform into a tiger, and B, for the most part doesn't bite people. How do you guys feel about those two revelations? The Beast Boy that we know transforms into everything: rhinos and bears and lions and tigers and bears. And so only the tiger in this.
That goes back to the idea that they want to slowly, like they're pacing themselves with what they're gonna do with these characters. Like we all know what they are already, so I think they feel like it's their responsibility to take us there instead of to just give it to us. And I get it. But the thing about him not,
it could be budgetary too.
I assumed it was budgetary.
It definitely could be. But at the same time, this is just a feel that I got from it. Like when it comes with everybody, like we got little bits and pieces of everyone's story, but we didn't get everything. We didn't get everything for anyone, really. Even Dick, who had the most spotlight of them all, that we didn't really get too much of like why he even split from Bruce, other than like I don't want to become him. But
I did dig the circus family though. I did dig dig circus family. His circus peeps, his carny folk.
I was gonna say, when it comes to Beast Boy and not biting, that was obviously, that was a plot that they put there to pay off down the line when he eventually he has to kill those asylum doctors in order to escape.
Yeah, that was horrifying. Like watching him and like transform back into a human and still have entrails coming from the side of his mouth. And then when Trigon's messing with him and he's looking in the mirror and he still sees the blood around his mouth, like they in a series that kills a lot of people, cars and bombs and guns and slitting of throats, stabs, all that. It was cool to have a character not be cool with all of that, because everyone else was kind of cool with all of that. And so it was cool to see somebody be like, that's not me, and I would rather not get to there, but I was there, and that's
it's also potentially like another experience of trauma as a motivator. So now he's got this traumatic memory, and now like vegetarian.
Oh yeah, for life, right? Didn't he say something like that? Does he say like, or is it Superman that's like, I can feel the plants, so I don't want to kill them?
I don't know that. But like I think I remember there was supposed to be something with Gar where it was like I can't bring myself to eat the meat because like I've been those animals.
I can see that. That makes
yep. That's how I've always known him, I think. But I don't know if I got that from the animated series or if I got it from the comics. It's just like this thing that I feel like I know about Beast Boy, and that makes complete sense. I would not want to eat a cow. I have been a cow. It's just that simple. You know?
How you guys feel about the family straight from Pleasantville, the nuclear family, one of the first villains we see up in here. I thought it was good. I remember them from either Superman the animated series or Justice League the animated series, but they were robots in like a Pleasantville-esque situation, or maybe it was Justice League Action, one of those. But I was like, that I remember them, and I try to think of them there, and then obviously the play on a nuclear family being 4 people, the regular 4-person household. Yeah. That's what they call a nuclear family. Yeah. So I thought that there was a cool little play on words there. But yeah, all signed up for the whole Suicide Squad mess. Like you mess up, gonna take your top off. Which added they handled
it so well.
To see them so carelessly murder was scary, and then to see them in fear of something because they were so careless in their murders. So to see them in fear of Dr. Adamson, when Dr. Adamson's like, I'll just kill you guys all right now.
It was creepy to see them so how do you say, carelessly murder, but be this like really loving, wholesome kind of family unit.
Yeah,
like that bothered me.
Because there's no funeral for Dick Grayson's partner.
No.
Remember that whole thing where they just murdered her, where they just chopped her up to little pieces?
Oh my God!
Looking for Rachel? That
was just really bothersome to me. Like, these are really nice, wholesome, like milkmaid people.
Yeah.
But like,
Dick's like, that sucks, but I got things I gotta do.
Literally.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they were pretty cool as far as villains are concerned. Favorite characters? Who's your favorite character on this, gentleman?
That's a tough one.
I think mine's is Robin. I'll start off then while you gentlemen think. I think mine's is Robin, only because, and it's mostly because I'm starved for Robin content at this point. I think, honestly, I think that some of the best stories ongoing in DC are things like Detective, where you get to see a little bit more with Tim Drake's mentality and stuff. Under the Red Hood is such a dynamic story because you get to see the scorned Robin, dealing with that. The birth of Nightwing is such a big deal. The introduction of Damian is such a big deal. Like, none of these characters are like side characters that, give or take. They mean something and they add something to the lore of Batman, and they make his lore and his mythology bigger. And so seeing Dick there, and not only that, but seeing everybody else mark out because he's there. Oh, you're Robin. That's Robin. Yo, he's Robin. Was like, yeah, that name should ring bells. No one said it in a while, but damn it, it should ring bells.
Robin marks out over Robin.
Yeah, he's like, what do? I keep you guys all alive. That's his thing right there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Robin, and then obviously I had a thing for Jason Todd because I like my Robins.
I think my favorite character. Well, I've got to say characters because my favorite characters were Hawk and Dove, and I don't think I can choose out of them two particularly. But like I was saying earlier, like they were probably one of my favorite parts of the series because of how just how well they played their roles. Man, it was like I felt the pain. Like I felt for them. I felt bad. I felt so bad. I was like, man, this is great stuff right here. You guys, I want to see more of that. And really, they were the final hook, right? Like their episode was like the final, we've got to go help these guys. And then we did the nightmare thing, and then no real cliffhanger. Like
episode. Yeah, there's no episode after that.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I want to see more. I want to see more Hawk and Dove. I don't know that I would want to see them on their own show, but I want to see. I hope that they continue to work with the team after their arc is over here, even though it kind of feels like they're not gonna make it out of this alive.
No, I predict that that's what's probably gonna happen is that the Hawk, Dove, Dick triangle, and then maybe Corey gets in there a little bit, like what's going on, what history do you have with these people, and I think it could make some interesting turns. But yeah, that duo was incredibly raw, no pun intended. Every time they were on the screen, it was just it really made you ask these questions to yourself. How would you adapt to pain and trauma like this? Would you enact and become a vigilante? Would you just bottle it up? Would you seek help in a group setting? Would you just drink it off in the nearby bar? What is the right way to handle trauma? What is the way that's just going to continue to poison you to the things
I don't think they handled it well at all. Like
right.
They're doing Hank is doing drugs. Dove is beating people half to death. I think. Oh, I should talk about like the scene where Dove finds where Dawn finds out that Hank had been molested as a child, and then she decides like that doesn't sit well with her, and she decides to go off and get revenge for him. I thought that was but maybe a little bit too soon. Like they had just met each other. I don't know, like she had been fully in love with him or whatever. But it showed that she either cared about him enough that she felt that pain and wanted to take care of it for him, or she was trying to deal with her own issues and misplaced them and like kind of redirected her emotions into Hank's problem. And then like Dawn has this moment with Hank where after she finds out that he's been molested, she decides that she wants to go get revenge for him because he had decided that he wouldn't, because he thought that he was trying to suppress that and he's trying not to think about it. She made him bring it up. So I was thinking that that's like really fast, like because usually like you feel that type of pain for someone you love, and I get that they had slept with each other once, but it's like whoa. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking that she's like directing her own emotions, like because she lost her mom in the same accident where Hank lost his brother, right? So I'm thinking that she's directing those emotions towards this revenge beatdown too. But of course, as we saw, it didn't work out like all the way for her alone. So Hank ends up coming and saving the day, and it becomes like this cute little bonding moment where we get revenge on my molester together, and now we love each other for the rest of life. I just thought that was like really fast. Like it was like just really fast. But then again, like
It kind of reminds me of the line from earlier where, like, and I can't remember honestly if it came before that scene or after, but it kind of reminds me of the whole line about being able to force things into being fair.
Yeah, that actually comes before then. I think that's the
that's the response. Like, no, this is unfair. It should be this way, so I'm going to make it fair.
They tell Dove that life is unfair and she needs to just take it as that. She tells the the group therapist or whatever that we should be able to right wrongs, and when seeing that there is a wrong to right in the abuse that Hawk takes, she decides that now, and this is kind of a hero thing, how heroes think, right? She decides that now everybody's trauma is her trauma.
Yes.
Everybody's issue, everybody's wrong is now her wrong to right. And so it's no longer about selfish motivations of I need to get past my mother's death or his brother's death, but there's other people getting molested. There's other people who are losing brothers and mothers. There's a bigger thing at hand, but this is literally tearing them apart. Like, or at least Hawk is like falling to pieces.
Yes.
So it's like, it's heroic, but we very rarely.
She's the one who ends up in the coma.
Yeah, well, she got flung off a building, right? Yes. Remember that? I was like, she's dead.
I thought she was dead.
I was dead.
So
they
devastated.
threw her off a building. She is
I'm
God.
like, man. I'm like, I loved her. She's so hot.
Especially it seemed like there was gonna be this period of like, oh great, everyone I haven't come across is gonna bite the bullet.
Oh man.
Oh no. I want like I was saying earlier, I want Hawk and Dove to be part of the team, but I kind of see the character arc ending with the death of either one or both of them. They seem very self-destructive.
Well, who's your favorite character?
I was gonna go with that too. I guess I was just gonna go with Dove alone, but like that's probably the parts of the show that like really got my attention.
Okay.
The Hawk and Dove stuff. I know other people like the comic. Loyal people were like really unhappy with their presentations, but I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Mika Kelly did a better job than I expected her to pull it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at how, and this is gonna sound like shallow of me. She's really beautiful. She is very beautiful.
Gorgeous. I'm not sure if that's like one of those blonde wigs, but I'm almost scared to see what she looks like without it.
I was like,
because
wow.
I know she's like.
Listen, Derek Jeter
I think.
as well.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And Derek Jeter don't get no scrubs, right? I'll tell you that right now.
He had Mariah Carey at once. So
yeah, there you go.
That's sticking his bat and crazy.
But initially, you think you gravitated more towards Dove than
yes.
Hank?
I did. Hank was like a little like you find out why he's a bit unhinged, but like he was a bit much for me. It was just like, bro, why are you so insecure?
Yeah, and you're very angry.
Yeah.
You are very angry.
Chill out, man.
Nah.
But I mean, I don't blame him. Like his girl fucked like Batman's fucking side. She banged Batman's sidekick.
Yeah.
You know?
Once
that's
that
still
happens,
Batman's sidekick. He's showing up again. I'm a little insecure.
That's still the baby bat. You know, that's still the baby bat. But we were those. I think all those characters, well, the characters that we named, did really stand out in the show, and it sucks because according to the creative team behind this, that their idea of this show is going to be spotlighting different characters at different points. So this was obviously a heavier Raven, Dick Grayson, Hawk and Dove sort of narrative, and then I'm guessing on the flip side, season 2 we'll get a lot of those. But before we go, I would love. Well, that's the thing. Before we go, I would love to talk about what we think is going to come in season 2. I would like to talk about what new heroes you think is coming. Who should join?
I'm sure that Tara's coming at one point or another, and that we're gonna do the Judas contract storyline. Actually, now that I mentioned that, John's actually confirmed a while back that Titans would get its own Deathstroke, and that they're gonna do. Yeah, they're gonna be doing Judas contract soon enough. Maybe, I don't know about next season. That would be like really soon. But he definitely mentioned that Titans will be getting its own Deathstroke. So I'm looking forward to that.
I guess I'd like to see how they do that, because Judas contract has its moments of like weird.
Yeah, I really don't think that they're gonna have pedophile Deathstroke.
Yeah. I mean, this is, if they're going to, this is the show to do it, right?
I guess you know what. This is a pretty dark show. Maybe they'll deal with that.
Can they just? I just asked that they just bring Manu Bennett in. No, can they just bring Manu Bennett in?
Not if we're gonna make him a pedophile.
Not if we're gonna make him a pedophile.
No. Manu Bennett's Deathstroke was so perfect that I am worried for the Deathstroke that they bring.
Yeah, and not to mention we got a Joe Manganiello Deathstroke on Justice League. That end teaser.
Like, I'm pretty certain that's never gonna happen.
They spent money on it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
they spent their fuck. He was supposed to be in the Batman, right? That's why he even got casted, right?
Yeah.
He was gonna be in the Batman, and then it was gonna be Batman Deathstroke.
They
and
made a new mask for him. They had like some footage of him doing some stuff.
League or something. But none of that stuff is gonna happen. So I'm not sure what they're even gonna do with Deathstroke if they're still gonna use him.
Yeah.
Well, at least we're gonna get one on Titans, so that's great.
We got the confirmation of Superboy, basically in that post-credit scene, a naked man, or just some other naked man who likes crypto.
I was more shocked to see we got Crypto.
Crypto's.
I was more shocked to see how big Superboy was. Did you see those quads? Those fucking
he was
thighs?
huge.
I didn't pay too much attention.
He was huge.
I couldn't see past him. I'm like, what the hell? He was like, even Superman isn't that big.
He is that big hulking. Yeah, he's a big hulking gentleman.
Is this Superboy or is it like fucking?
Yeah,
I don't know what to know.
Well, I guess I
don't
have
know.
to ask the question at that point. Like, are we casting the dude we put in that scene?
No, absolutely not. He was a silhouette, but then that'll make it weird.
When he shows up looking like Topher Grace, we're gonna be like, "What's going on?"
It'll be just as weird as when they did like the dude who popped out the Savitar suit. Who was
yeah, and it was like, "Oh, okay."
It's just skinny Barry.
Yeah, it's just Barry.
It was Barry. It was vibrating Barry.
That's it.
That's what it was.
Vibrating jacked.
That's what you gotta do. What other heroes though? You know we're getting Superboy. We got Crypto. You say Terra might come in as a sneak tip. You think Garth? Do we ever get Garth? Do we ever gonna get Aquaboy? Aqualad?
I mean,
at this point, due to my favoritisms, I prefer Calder.
Okay. He's not.
Yeah, they should actually definitely do Calder. Like they started putting him in comics.
Yeah.
Was he in the Aquaman movie? Like I haven't.
No.
Was he in there?
No. But Manta could work with these kids.
Oh, you know what? If this thing here you say about Chef John's alluding to adding a gay team member, Calder would be the guy.
Oh,
him gay in the
I forgot he
That's
said
true.
that. I forgot he said that.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
He said that in season 2 he would add one. Yeah.
I'm actually certain now that Calder is coming down the pipeline.
So we get some water kinesis. I mean, the bill's looking like it's getting higher and higher. Laser eye vision, water kinesis. If Wonder Girl comes through,
you need Wally. You need Wally, like an actual Wally, because
Maybe
the Wally. You need Wally. Like TV Wally was a bust.
Yeah, he kind of sort of was.
TV Wally was a bust.
You mean TV Wallace?
Wallace. Excuse me, yes, Wallace. Because we didn't really get a Wally West, right? That's actually Wally West's cousin.
Wallace.
If we're gonna do that, sure.
They got the grandfather's name. Yeah. That's what the hell happened there.
Wallace.
So someone passed that along to Greg Berlanti so they can introduce a new Wally and have nothing to
do with anything else. Yeah.
No, but I'm almost certain that we're gonna get more Titans members. Like this is like a skeleton crew of Titans. You know, like
it is bare bones, and I'm guessing Grayson's eventually gonna have to put all these people under his wing and be like, "This is what we're doing." And
for sure.
But as far as villains are concerned, I mean, you said Slade. Does that mean we get maybe Rose Wilson? Do you see Ravager popping up anytime soon?
I don't know who that is.
I think that we need Jericho.
Is that supposed to
we
be
need Jericho.
Kid?
We need Rose. We. It's like all that stuff is like such classic. It's part of.
I don't know if I'm ready for Jericho's hair though. Jericho notoriously that hair. I don't know. He's not gonna get it from his father. I don't know where he gets that like Bob Ross haircut from, but he's rocking it.
Is the other idiot on Arrow Ravager too?
Yeah, Joe.
Okay.
Joe. Is it Grant? He has a son named Grant, and he has a son named Joe. And he has a daughter named Rose. If I'm not mistaken, and Jericho.
Okay.
He has a lot of kids. He's a bad father, though.
But yeah,
don't get it twisted. He's a bad father. He's kind of a shitty father.
So Joe was Ravager in the Arrowverse.
Yes. Yeah, Yogi.
They did when they did Ravager in the Arrowverse, it was Isabel.
It was the girl.
Oh,
it was that.
Okay.
It was that was working for Ollie.
Yes.
She wasn't related. She just like wanted the D.
This is that unique season of Arrow where that girl that he's screwing wants to actually kill him.
Yes, I remember that.
That very, very unique story point that they never do again.
It's a thing that, they never tried.
Never done that.
We alluded to her before. What are the odds we get Blackfire?
I'd say it's pretty good unless they want to not, destroy their budget.
That's true.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get the twist. This actually is Blackfire.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Because she's got a little streak to her, that little mean streak that I'm not used to seeing out of Starfire.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
It would suck, right? Because then they would have known that, and then they got all the hate, and then they had to just shut up, right? They had to just be like,
it's not like they don't have to cast a new person or anything.
No.
You just give one straight hair or curl up the other one,
and take the jackets off of both of them, please. Take those big fur jackets away. Let's put them to the side. The party's over.
I think Simon could be interesting.
Simon?
Yes.
Yeah, Simon, a mind control villain that doesn't really cost much.
Dr. Light's certainly coming, but I always feel weird about Dr. Light.
Which Dr. Light?
Dr. Light.
He was this regular, cheesy Teen Titans cartoon villain, and then all of a sudden he's a rapist.
What's funny? I wouldn't mind.
Like that book.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't mind Identity Crisis on a small scale.
I do I should say this because everyone's gonna be like, I like the Identity Crisis. Okay, when I read Identity Crisis, I was very, very early in my DC Comics reading. Right? So I'm like, holy shit! This is Law and Order, but on steroids. This is great, freaking murder mystery. I didn't have the emotional attachment to Sue and Ralph Dibny, so I was like, man, this chick got raped, whatever the heck. I didn't have the knowledge of how wholesome and clean and perfect Sue and Ralph were, and for them to so I understand why people are like, how could they do this to Sue Dibny of all people? I get that, I totally get that, but I also like the story.
All of Batman's friends mind wiping him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's very poignant. I think that has to happen in Batman's lore because he has such a distrust already. All he needs is a little bit of a more reason because that's how you get Brother Eye. That's how you get all the stuff that comes after that.
Can we not get Brother Eye?
But I feel like Brother Eye is the natural progression of Batman's paranoia. I think you look at Kingdom Come where he has bots controlling the world. It doesn't, and it's not supposed to. He's supposed to know that he's supposed to give the individual a chance. He can't just blanket humanity as flawed and then just run it like it's a machine or something like that. That's the one thing about Batman, that in his best moments, he realizes that the individual choice to be good or bad is what really matters. That's a big Superman thing too. So if you did, I wouldn't mind Identity Crisis on a smaller scale. If you found out that everybody was cool with Raven killing Dr. Light, but then Dick Grayson walks into the room like, what the hell are you guys doing? You understand? What are you guys doing? And then it becomes a thing of morality. Where it becomes like, what are you doing? Like I said, it's on a smaller scale. It was the idea of the murder mystery, and then what it ended up becoming. I think that kind of soured people. But the idea
people were just straight up. People were pissed because later on it comes out that it was Dan DiDio was specifically asking he wanted this. He chose Sue Dibny.
They went on a writer's retreat. Yeah, they went on a writer's retreat just to come up with this rape story and stuff.
I need to lock
which was great.
In a room and just record this entire thing.
They told them,
knowing.
Go ahead, brother.
Knowing what, having read this story without any context, right? I didn't even have any connection to the much larger Infinite Crisis story that this was a part of. I just read this on its own. So reading it on its own without any context is great. But when you know what went into it, the thought process behind Identity Crisis is what bothered people so much. They literally just made this book for the sake of being dark.
Yeah.
So it's
they were don't forget the rape pages and stuff. That was an actual thing. Don't forget the rape pages. By the way,
on the Watchtower, don't forget that. I'm Jesus Christ. Then they set her on fire when she was pregnant, and I'm oh my God.
Death of the author is not a thing in comics.
Yeah, right. So you put on your Infinity Gauntlet, so to speak. What is the one thing that you would absolutely love from Titans Season 2? I'll start. I think I definitely want Nightwing.
Sure.
I want them to be called Titans, and I think my stupid little caveat to just make it go over the moon is someone say Titans together. If someone says Titans together, I'm in the bag. You got me, and everything's good. You got it, and I hope it's Beast Boy trying to make up a catchphrase. I hope it's let him I'm trying to stick to something. Maybe Titans together. I like his fanboyishness around Wonder Girl and Robin. So yeah, I really want Titans together, and I want that Nightwing outfit, but preferably without all the feathers on the chest and stuff like that.
No feathers.
As long as we can skip past Disco Nightwing.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
okay.
That was disgusting.
But I'm worried, that's what we're gonna do, because
well, Corey's Disco Corey.
So
we got Disco Corey, Disco Queen, Starfire.
No, we definitely did.
What's yours, Yogi?
We definitely did. If I had to choose one thing that I absolutely wanted out of Titans, I feel like I'm getting it already, because we're gonna do the Judas contract, but I want to ask for more of this. I want more of this, the way that they've completely acknowledged all the DC universe around them, to the point where we even got Batman silhouette for an hour.
Okay.
I want more of that.
You want more of an existing universe.
I love that they don't have to connect with the already existing shows, but we can have a larger universe. I love that they can do that. So I want more of that.
Okay.
I'll make a slightly selfish one here, and maybe another one. For me, I'd like just a small reference to the fact that the Nightwing name comes from Superman.
Okay. Yeah, Flamebird, right? Nightwing Flamebird.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, I'd like him to reference the fact that he got the name from Clark.
Yeah.
From an old Kryptonian story. That would just warm my heart, because a lot of people don't know that story.
Now that you say that, isn't it crazy that by next year, seemingly, we will have had a live-action Superman, Superboy, and Supergirl?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good work, Kryptonians.
And we're getting a baby Superboy.
And we got the dog, bro. We got the dog. Crypto's here, bro.
We're just missing Streaky.
That's
Streaky doesn't have a cat,
technically,
right?
No, Streaky does exist, technically.
Is she the cat or the horse? There's a horse.
The cat.
Supergirl has a horse. I know that.
I don't remember the horse.
I don't remember. There were a lot of weird animals in the 60s. Thanks a lot, Comics Authority Code.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Streaky's on the show.
Yeah.
Does she have a cat?
I think she has a house cat.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
I think she has a house cat she calls Streaky.
Okay, that
it just doesn't have powers.
It doesn't need, I don't need a freaking Justice League of Animals, you know?
I'm saying, it'll come, man. Coming to the DC Universe app.
No. Other than that, if I could add a character, I would, even though, you'd have to probably work around the effects thing, I'd like a McGann.
Okay. Yeah, Miss Martian.
Man,
we got very little of that in the Arrowverse, because that came and went on Supergirl.
Yeah, that's a Jeff Johns original character, Miss Martian.
Definitely see her coming on. He's like one thing I love about Jeff Johns being involved in all these shows is he's such a fanboy that he's written all his favorite characters, and he loves to bring them into everything that he's doing.
Of course.
Look at Stargirl now. Stargirl is one of his babies, and he's like, well,
yeah, I'm going into that one blind.
Yeah, but it's getting its own. Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking for a second about Brother Blood, and it reminded me that they also did Brother Blood in Arrow. It was the same season that they did Deathstroke and Ravager. Man, did they pillage the DC history for Arrow. I guess they didn't know if they were going to get anything else, so they were just screw it. We're going to do it.
Because this is back when they were, everyone was really hard on doing, Villain of the Week under the overarching story.
Yeah.
Which they don't do as strongly as they used to do.
Right.
I assume they ran out of them after 5
now
seasons.
They can't get anything done with the person hanging around. Yeah, right. I get it. Yeah.
But we used to always have someone.
Back then they were you can figure back then they were worried that we could get canceled at any moment. Let's get it all.
And no one might ever do this.
Right.
Who's gonna do Brother Blood? Who's gonna do?
They threw at Barry Allen in season 2. We even got the Flash in season 2. Before he had a show. Yeah. It's let's get it all in there. Let's just get it in. You know.
Yeah. I wonder if they can handle a speedster on that team. It'd be very interesting to see what that team looks like with the speedster. In the Jeff Johns run, Bart Allen is incredibly entertaining. He's a real lighthearted addition to the team. He kind of almost plays the Beast Boy role. Beast Boy's a little bit older, a little bit more. I mean, he still jokes around and stuff. But Bart is the adulation of the team, the actual excitement, which is what Beast Boy plays here.
Now that you mentioned Bart, he hasn't had a live action version of himself, right? That would be a great way to put a Flash on this team without undercutting what they're doing over on the CW.
And because he's from the future, you don't even gotta worry about anything.
Do we have any Archers left?
Any Archers left? Amico?
Well,
we're doing Amico.
Oh yeah, we're doing Amico for Arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're doing Amico, which actually I was gonna say. I thought it was funny that they're introducing Amico right around the time where it looks like Oliver's gonna die. So I'm like, okay, she's gonna be this recurring character on all the DC shows. That's actually great.
Yeah. Sure. Amico Queen.
That's just a side thing.
I'm just like, are there any left that they haven't done that they could put on this show?
Listen, I'm pretty sure Willa Holland ain't doing nothing. They better just call her up.
I'm pretty sure Willa Holland don't want to pick up a bow again anytime soon.
That's also probably true. That's also probably true. Maybe she has a thing for Brandon Thwaites. Who knows?
I don't know.
We got to see.
I don't know if they can, if there's an Arrowette, we did Artemis and then we scrapped it real fast.
Did they do Artemis?
Yeah, in season 4.
I forgot.
The girl who joined the team in season 5 is Artemis.
5, yeah. 5.
Oh my God, the traitor chick.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Because I liked her because she was fake Black Canary and then became Artemis.
Oh man!
Last but not least, noticeably missing from this roster, but set to get his live-action television debut, is Vic Stone, Cyborg. Do you think he stays on Doom Patrol, or is his destiny met with the Titans?
No, absolutely not. I feel like they were always gonna put Cyborg on this team, right? But if you see the way the first season went, they barely had enough time to tell everyone's story together. Imagine adding something else into that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked. So I could definitely see him being transferred over to the Titans after he gets his story told over on Doom Patrol. So I wouldn't even be surprised if that's the reason that they put him there.
What do you think, GT?
I figured they put him on Doom Patrol because it was too white, but it's the exact same reason they put him on Justice League because it was too white.
But they did recast a bunch of people in Doom Patrol. They've got a Latina. Isn't one of them Asian?
Oh, Crazy Jane.
Oh, they got Diane Guerrero on from Orange is the New Black.
She's cute.
Yes.
Yep. She is cute. She absolutely is.
I don't know. I almost don't want him to go just to see people get upset about it.
Yeah. I think people would get upset.
You gotta be careful though. You gotta be careful getting people upset because I know a lot of people don't really acknowledge this, but when the general public really looks to when they're online, they look to see what the geeks how are they reacting? Let's take a look at these comic sections. And they go by that. They take that with them. And sometimes they don't even watch or read the material, and they'll take the opinions that they read of people like us, and that's what they go with. That's their opinion.
They have trusted guides in these mediums.
I mean, if the opinions are well, he should be on this team, it's it's not much of a.
That's not much, but
internet criticism.
People take small things, they blow up about them.
Yep, like this scene does not contain a lap dance. Ding. Ha! You know what I'm saying? Stuff happens, bro.
Points.
Points. Stuff definitely happens. Woo! What an episode talking about DC Titans. I think I got my Titans full. Phil? Full? I'm still doing this? Full. Anything you guys have left to say? Anything left on the old Titans mantle there?
I want to imagine that it took 45 seconds for him to come up with the theme song because it's just
Did you notice that every time a new episode was that they showed different things in the letters?
I did notice that. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
We eventually picked up on it. It keeps changing. Oh, it's okay.
The inside the letters, they would show what basically the main characters would be in the story that the episode that unfolded.
It's like the ensemble book where the first page is and here's everyone in the book today.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Yogi, any last words about our Titans?
Yeah, so I enjoyed season 1 of Titans. I'm looking forward to season 2, but I'm concerned with this news that I'm hearing about the DC Universe app not gaining the subscribers that they thought that they would, and I'm worried because that makes me think, as I said earlier, what will happen to these shows that I'm becoming invested in, and the slate that I'm looking forward to: the Harley Quinn, the Swamp Thing, the rest of Young Justice.
If we could just get to Harley Quinn,
so
I'll be
I'm
good.
Like, I'm actually okay. Like I'm looking forward to the Harley Quinn cartoon too. It's different, you know. DC, have they put out like full on adult cartoons before, other than like
so.
1 or 2 rated R animated movies?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think that they have.
This will be a new foray.
I'm looking forward to see what they do. Yeah, for sure.
I think the answer to the fledgling subscriptions, I think that the CW shows are very cast heavy. I think you can start trickling some of those guys over. I mean, you know, what's a Mr. Terrific is wasted on Arrow, you know? Like, you don't need Mr. Terrific for Arrow. Yeah. Like, what are you doing with that? People like Killer Frost, Firestorm, like, all those characters can live on the app.
They work so hard to like build up the Outsiders without ever actually calling it that.
Right, exactly. You know, and you can only keep introducing so many heroes and so many multiverses when if this is not getting off the ground, you got to start putting some support there at the app.
We've got like 6 more Black Canaries to run through.
No.
Well, you know what? When it comes to casts, like the cast of Doom Patrol is wild. Like the cast of Swamp Thing is wild. Like they're casting some pretty big names, and I don't know that that's helping.
Warner Brothers never skimps on the cast though. They've always been like, how much does he cost? Give them 3 of that.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they don't skimp on that CGI budget, we're good.
I think that's where that. I think that will be what makes or breaks season 2. But if you guys like shows like Titans, you guys probably like all things that come to comic books and comic book media. And we talk about all those things right here as a part of the Major Issues podcast. We are a year strong, which means we got a whole back catalog talking about all the things that come to comic books and comic book media. And you can find it all by searching for the Major Issues podcast wherever podcasts are found. That's places like Podbean, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Google Play, or you can just get it on YouTube. When push comes to shove, I think that we will have a lot to talk about in the future. But in all honesty, I'm so proud of all the things that all the episodes we've already covered. We've gone in depth on characters. We got in depth on actual comic books and comic book movies. So go ahead, look at our back catalog, and I think you'll like it. And if you do us a favor and rate and review us on iTunes, which is the quickest way for us to grow as a podcast and to grow our audience. And the audience that we're trying to grow is the cool kids. You understand? We want our own Titans on this side. You know, we want our own little squad. So go ahead and join. You can find all of our information at facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram @comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. And we're also at Major Issues CBC on Twitter. Greg, I believe you have your own.
Yes, my Twitter is RebirthGT. I am on there occasionally tweeting. I'm still not that great at it.
Yeah, we're constantly posting up memes and news. So reach us there. And for this next, I guess 2 months, we are actually running a little bit of a promotion. If you buy any shirt from TeePublic, that is Comic Book Click, you go ahead and take a selfie with that. Use the hashtag CBCWorthy, and you'll be entered to win 2 tickets to see Captain Marvel, the next big Marvel movie coming from the MCU out in March. So go ahead and do that. And we're getting ready because next week's episode is the best of 2018 CBC Awards. So we'll be talking about the best villain, talking about the best movie, talking about the best TV show, and you guys want to be here for that. That is next week. But this has been an incredible week because this has been DC Titans, and my name is George Serrano, a.k.a. The Don.
I am Gregory Thomas, a.k.a. GT Rebirth.
It's Jonathan Escudero, a.k.a. Yogi.
And whether or not people were saying you look like a hooker because you have a fur coat, whether the only thing that they could afford to dye on you was your hair, whether people getting dick wrong and dick right and just on dick in general, remember that it's Titans together. We are the Clique, and you, yes, you, are worthy.